All right, welcome back to the program. In case you're just joining us, this is Moneyline with Nancy on African Independent Television. Like I said at the beginning of the program, my first guest is here, Olanrewaju Odunowo, who is the head Tech Cabal Insights, and we're looking at the state of tech in Africa. Hello, Olanrewaju, and thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How can you hear me clearly?
Okay, fantastic. Now let's get started with this interview. The report which you spearheaded at Tech Cabal, of course, you had Tech Cabal Insights. Speak to me about what that report is about. I know that this is for Q4 2022. You had Q1, Q2, Q3, then Q4. Just give our viewers a sense of the tech ecosystem in 2022. Give us a sense of what happened in the ecosystem in 2022.
Thank you. So pretty much it was a mixed bag, really. We had some good deals, like some good things that happened. So tech startups raised more money than 2021, which was a good one. However, we did see quite a number of layoffs, basically people losing their jobs. As the last time we counted, there were over 1,000 layoffs, um, you know, and pretty much investors, despite the fact that there were more deals, we saw some conversations being cancelled. So some investment deals were cancelled because of the slowdown in VC funding. We saw more startups go for debt deals, which is pretty much loans in simple terms. So debt was like the highest by funding stage, about 723.5 million. And then grants was also a big part of funding. So we didn't see as much equity deals as we've seen in other years. Um, or basically we did see quite a number of deals, but like a lot of conversations from the equity standpoint were cut off pretty much. So that's really a roundup of the space. Fintech, obviously, with no surprises, remains the most funded sector. The top four countries, Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, continue to maintain and Kenya continue to maintain their position. And we did see acquisition deals rise. And that's because a lot of, most likely because some startups could not raise funding. So they were looking to get acquired. Or people who had ongoing funding conversations, those conversations were cut off pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so from your explanation, because of the economic conditions in 2022, it pretty much affected the ecosystem in Africa. But I really want to ask you this question, which is around the Japa syndrome, which we pretty much saw, or which we're seeing so far, even in Nigeria. I don't know to what extent it's affecting other African countries. What is the impact of the migration pressure that we've seen in Nigeria on the tech ecosystem?
Oh yeah, it's been tough. Companies are struggling to hire talent. They're losing, key talent, and I mean that is also forcing some companies to begin to look outside of their own country for talent. But it's getting tougher to find great talent. Pretty much, it's getting tougher to find great talent. Yeah.
Okay, so from your report, the top four investment hubs or destinations, countries, which you mentioned earlier, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and Egypt. Out of these four countries, which of the four are topped for talking about funding? Which country did funding come into mostly out of the four countries in 2022? Ola, can you hear me? Okay.
I mean, from my research, the most funded was Egypt, I believe. Yeah, That was the most vulnerable country, and followed by Nigeria. Sorry, Nigeria was the most vulnerable country. Then followed by Kenya, pretty much. So Nigeria continues to maintain its position, and I think one of the big deals that we saw was Florida Wave, raising I think about 250 million, if my figure is not wrong. But yeah, so Nigeria continues to lead the pack. I mean, depending on which report to look at, because different research have different research methodology, but I think everyone would agree that the four countries continue to lead and maintain, um, you know, their position.
Okay, Ola, let's quickly talk about the layoffs that we saw last year. From your report, you indicated there that over 1,000 tech employees lost their job in Africa's bearish tech market. The tech workers were laid off last year as Africa's tech industry faced a funding drought after years of increased investment to startup countries across the continent. Is there an idea of perhaps what the 1,000 employees that were laid off are actually doing now? Or are they part of the people that perhaps migrated outside the shores of Africa?
Um, I think, I mean, just from again, just from my observation, I think some of them have gotten jobs, with other companies who were trying to snap them up. So jobs with other companies, but struggle because most of it was very sudden from the reports that we got. Most of it was very sudden. But yeah, what we're seeing is companies that couldn't afford them earlier, can now like snap up those talents. But it's tough to say. Yeah, because we haven't done like deep research into what everyone is doing right now, but there's just some of them are migrating, like you said. Some of them, have been snapped up by smaller companies that couldn't afford them earlier. Some of them are probably gotten remote jobs, but all of this is just assumptions based on observation. Yeah, but
Okay.
it's tough to say.
Mm. Okay, what's your outlook for this sector? What's your outlook for this ecosystem in 2023 as we end the interview? What's the outlook this year? Is it still going to be a bit difficult like we saw in 2022? Or there's a kind of ray of light?
Um, I think it's likely going to get bad before it gets better. I think the first half of the year, everybody will just sit it out and try to watch what's going to happen. I was reading a report the other day that the global tech companies are performing better now, but it's too early to say, which is why I'm saying it's going to get worse before it gets better. We might see things get better in the second half of the year as companies adjust and basically adjust to the realities, pretty much. But my prediction is that it's going to get bad before it gets better.
It's going to get bad before it gets better because we've even seen companies like Microsoft announcing that it will lay off like 10,000 workers. Amazon and all these big companies, even those in Silicon Valley, is not really looking so bright at this time. So it's going to get bad before it gets better. All right. Thank you very much, Ola, for joining me on today's edition of the program. Thank you. Let's speak soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, I've been speaking with Olanrewaju Odunowo, who is the head Tech Cabal Insights, and we've been talking about the state of Africa's tech markets. The outlook from Ola and his team is going to get bad before it gets better. All right.